Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Make sure you check out mygreengear.com. 15% off all green gear for a limited time. Link will be in the description box. Mygreengear.com. You want to find me on other platforms, Rumble, Locals, all that kind of shit. All those links will be in the description box as well. So you may or may not have heard, and if you haven't, that's a shame because this should be top of mind, as they say. But the Waukesha parade killer, that demonic piece of trash, who got in his SUV and ran down parade goers, some of the people watching, some of the people performing, kids, elderly people. You know, the ones who should be most protected in our society were all ran down and killed. And his trial started last week, a couple weeks ago. And he had a defense team. He pled innocent. He pled not guilty due to insanity. His lawyers retracted and dropped that plea, and they ended up quitting. So he's defending himself. Now here's where the slope gets slippery. Do you have a right to defend yourself? Yes. But in a case like this where he's clearly extremely underqualified, he is acting like a fucking child. The judge had to tell him how to dress. He was showing up in his prison oranges, took his shirt off. He's pulling the jacket over his head. He's like a petulant child whose mom is talking to her friend too long and this little kid wants to go home. That's what he's acting like. Just a fucking juvenile. And in cases like this, when we have 100 witnesses and videotape in the vehicle with the damage that corresponds to the footage, why are we wasting resources? Why are we wasting tax money going through the charade of a trial? Now, I know, I'm aware. Due process. I get it. But this is crossing over into insulting the people who survived and those who lost people. He subpoenaed the entire state of Wisconsin. That's impossible. He's making a mockery of what these people went through. And today they had testimony from parents who lost children. A lady whose daughter was performing and she went to look for her and found her body in the street. Her shoes had been knocked off and dragged down the street. Her glasses were knocked from her head. And her mother picked her lifeless body up. Another man's son played for the Little League team. My son played for Little League. They had a parade. Could you imagine? Could you imagine as a parent going out there to find your twisted, lifeless body of your child? He said his son was laying there with his eyes open, unaware of the damage he had just sustained. The elderly people who were killed, whose bodies were all twisted up and mangled, arms and legs facing the wrong direction, compound fractures and all. The people who were injured. And to allow this man to sit up there and act a fool. Bring on the wood chipper. Industrial size. Bring it on. Have it parked outside the courthouse. Now, unfortunately, Wisconsin does not have the death penalty. They put a moratorium on the death penalty in 1853. They don't kill people there. They're not in Texas or in Alabama or something. Even California has a death penalty. Can you be on death row for 35 years? Yeah, but they have a death penalty. Wisconsin doesn't. So the worst this guy's going to get is a bunch of time in prison. To hang out and lift weights and all this shit and live his life. Outlive his victims by a whole bunch. Some of them, the children, 6, 8 years old, 10 years old, shit like that. Their parents will never get to see them grow up. Their parents have to deal with that. They have to deal with that hole that will permanently be in their heart and in their spirit, because life can give you nothing worse than taking your child from you. Nothing. Think of some horrible shit. It pales in comparison to having your child taken from you. And those parents have to deal with that every single day. They can't move anywhere. There's nothing they can do to dull that pain. Nothing. Time can go by. Nothing. Won't even touch it. And it only happened last November, not even a year ago. So how many of those parents you think still fall asleep? Probably lay down in that kid's bed, cry themselves asleep. Stand there in their room and just think of and imagine what their kids are going to be, what they're going to look like. Imagine their wedding day and graduations and all the shit they won't get to take part in because of this crazy son of a bitch. And I'm not even going to call him crazy, because that implies he has some kind of mental issue. I wouldn't want to insult people who have real mental issues, who really aren't in control of their actions. This guy is evil, pure fucking evil. I saw the footage when it happened. I haven't seen it since. I rewatched it before I did this video. It's horrific. All kinds of angles. Some people were up high in buildings filming the parade. Some people were street level. There's a frame where somebody was filming out the front of a store, and you see this red SUV just go flying by. Then you hear people screaming. The screaming and the crying, the sounds that go along with this. The screams of horror. The scream, it's not even a scream. It's like a primal yell that comes out of the body of someone who just realized their child was murdered. All of that shit that goes along with it. And the police shot at his vehicle. Unfortunately, they didn't hit him. But the worst he's going to get is a bunch of years in prison. What are they going to give him? 3, 4, 5, 6? He killed 6 people, give him 6 life sentences. Big deal. That's nothing. Our Western society does not have the stomach for what people like him deserve. He needs to be whipped to his bones. He needs to suffer over days. Biblical shit. We can't give him the punishment that he needs, that he deserves, that he's earned. If you haven't seen the footage from it, I don't recommend it unless you want to get mad. It's absolutely horrible. And then to see those images and then watch the images from the courtroom where he's just fucking around. Then he gives some bullshit apology to the judge in the court. I apologize for my actions. That's not how I was raised. As far as him coming to the court acting the way he did. What? I don't want to have no fucking apology from you. We need to go down to Ace Hardware, get some strong kind of cable, and then find a strong branch. That's what needs to happen to him. Or maybe have him in the middle of the street, and then an SUV comes by and, you know. How about that? But no. He's going to get a bunch of years in a Wisconsin prison, and he'll be a celebrity to some sick fucks in there. He'll get to eat ho-hos and ding-dongs and work out, read books, maybe have a TV. Huh? Imagine him sitting in his cell with some new tennis shoes on his feet up. He's eating hot Cheetos and laughing at a TV show. Boy, that's punishment, huh? Him getting to go to the library and learn law for what? We're just reading books, allowing his mind to escape and go outside the prison walls. That's punishment. Anyway, this story made me fucking sick. I mean, I would say I can't wait to see what his punishment will be, but it won't be severe enough. But this cocksucker is in the courtroom representing himself, making a mockery of the justice system, and basically flipping the bird, double middle fingers to the face of the people who lived through that and who lost people. Awesome. Don't forget, guys, mygreengear.com. I'm going to get in here with my beautiful wife and kids and squeeze my children that much tighter. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Utilize the Linktree link. Get your ass over to mygreengear.com. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.